Hello everybody, Lucas Haneman here, and welcome to today's episode of Guitar Tone Tuesday. On this episode, I wanted to do something a little bit different for you guys. I wanted to talk about right-hand technique. Now, I'm aware that some of the people who watch this series might be more of a beginner player, intermediate player, and especially if you're a beginner player, this might not be something that has really dawned on you yet, because people don't talk about it quite enough. The right hand is a very, very powerful tool, and that's where so much of the music comes from when we're playing guitar. Now, I realized something this morning, and this is what made me want to think about this right hand thing, was that I used to get hired a fair bit to play music at parties where I'd be playing a certain song in a different musical style, not the style that the song was meant to be played in. For instance, something like this. So for those of you who don't know, that was Billie Jean in a pseudo-gypsy jazz style. And I realized that the reason why I was hired to play at these parties was because I kind of had a diverse right-hand technique and a knowledge of different styles of music. But we can only talk about so much in a short video. So let's talk about the right-hand technique first. So let's talk about three things. I want to talk about using a pick, I want to talk about using hybrid technique, and using your fingers. So in terms of using a pick, I'm going to go back to the first pick that I had today. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. This is a kind of large-ish pick, just a standard pick. And I'm going to choose a chord progression. It's going to be A, D, and G, okay? And I'm just going to show you kind of what I would consider to be like a standard strum. So here we go. So that's like that progression I was playing at the beginning of the video. So I'm using my pick and I'm plucking, I'm strumming right here kind of next to the edge of the sound hole. Now if I wanted to change the timbre of that, there's a few things I could do. I could try strumming a little bit closer to the middle of the sound hole, a little bit closer to the neck of the guitar to get a warmer sound. Or I could actually come back here to the bridge of the guitar to get a twangier sound. It's pretty cool. I kind of like that twangy sound. It's really interesting. Another thing that I could do is I could actually grab a different guitar pick to get a different sound as well. So I could grab, here's an example of a really, really thin pick. It's amazing how much that changes the sound of the guitar. To me, that kind of sounds like an easy listening, like early 70s acoustic guitar sound from a recording from back in those days. But I do like having little, you know, I mean, it's such a cheap way to change the sound of your guitar by just changing your pick. It's really amazing. And I'm going to switch to this pick now. This is a Dunlop Jazz 2. Now, these picks are really, really tiny. I really love them because of the fact that they don't protrude too much from your hand. If you're holding the pick, it almost doesn't look like you're holding a pick at all. Often people, because I like these picks so much, people often ask me if I use a pick or not because they can't see it. Now, the reason why I like these picks is because I like hybrid picking, which is using your pick in conjunction with your fingers. So just to show you an example of that, you could do something where your fingers are plucking the higher strings of the guitar together while your pick does something on the lower strings. So kind of like this. has a certain sound. It's pretty interesting. Hybrid picking is often known as chicken picking. So in the country tradition, you hear things like this. Where your pick will pluck the lower strings and your fingers will pop the upper strings. But you could do almost more of an arpeggiation too, where you're hybrid picking. You know, something like that also works really, really well. So I like hybrid picking, as well as just normal strumming. But I also really enjoy finger picking. So this is where we don't use any picks, we're just using the flesh of our fingers. And again, you can get this kind of sound where you arpeggiate. Or you use your fingers together. Or you can even use the palm of your hand to mute while you pick. It's pretty wild how one chord progression can sound so different depending on what you're doing with your right hand. And as I say, I think this is something that people need to think about more, especially if you're a burgeoning guitar player. It's definitely powerful what this right hand stuff can do. And I just wanted to open some people's eyes up, hopefully, to the possibilities. I know I missed some techniques here because I am not a master of all of this stuff. I certainly am not. I just like to use these different techniques in my own playing and in my writing. But in the comment section below, please let me know what I missed. Please let me know what techniques you like to use and how you like to get different sounds out of your guitar. That's it for this week. Please subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We will see you guys again next Tuesday.